highway, won't you lend me your name? Your way and my way seem to be one and the same. Mama don't understand it. She wants to know where I've been. I have to be some kind of natural born fool who wanna pass that way again. But you know I could feel it on a country road. Sail on home to Jesus, won't you, good girls and boys? Come on in pieces, you can have your own choice. I got me a heavenly band full of angels and they're coming to set me free. I don't know much about the wild wind, but I can tell you that it's bound to be, because I could feel it, child, yeah, on a country road. I guess my feet know where they want me to go, walking on a country road, yeah. Take to the highway, won't you lend me your name? Your way and my way, say one and the same child. Mama don't understand it. She wants to know where I've been. I'd have to be some kind of natural born fool to wanna pass that way again. But you know I could feel it on a country road. Sail on home to Jesus, won't you, good girls and boys? Come on in pieces, you can have your own choice. Well, I got me a heavenly band full of angels and they're coming to set me free. I don't know much about the wild wind, but I can tell you that it's bound to be, because I could feel it, child, yeah, on a country road. I guess my feet know where they want me to go, walking on a country road, yeah. Country road.
Now see if you can hear it.
Yeah, walk on down, walking on a country road.
I have my eyes closed. People came. There you are. I see you. Thanks, Steve Ellis, for filling in this morning. It's not your usual Sunday. We're grateful.
Steve Mason is sick.
Steve Mason is under the weather, yes. So, yeah, he let us know that he would be here this morning, and the other Steve showed up. And then I get confused about names, about Steve Ellis, Steve Mason, Steve Taylor, you don't know him. So,
Picture.
I can hear it now. Good morning. Morning.
Oh, good sound.
We'll settle, watching our sound team and video team organize. Thank you, Sam, for filling in this morning. Grateful. Ellen, thank you for all the things you do to make the service happen so that it's present for anybody who wants to watch or listen or be present here in the sanctuary. Thank you always for being here, even if you trip over the steps or hit your head on a light or whatever the case may be. And we're grateful to you, each of you who are present here this morning. We're in the season For those of you who are online and at distance, you may not know, this is the season. The tulips are cresting and ready to explode. I've seen some exploding fields of tulips. Daffodils are in their prime. They are absolutely radiantly beautiful. And the valley in all of its colors and textures is just remarkable. So if you're far away, I wish you could come see us in this season of the year because it's so beautiful. We say we welcome you in the warm and loving spirit of unity, but we ask, what does that really mean? Because we're not in the same space by place, but we're in the same moment in time. If you really think about it, no matter what time it is around the world, whatever place others are in or life is unfolding, it's the same moment in time. It might be 10 o'clock somewhere else at night, whatever the case might be. But when we say we welcome you in warm, loving spirit of unity, what we see is there's only one time, and it's now. And you can stand anywhere on this extraordinary planet and declare now the time and enter into the experience of the Spirit in all its fullness now. 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 I'm going to do this. Sorry. She warned me. It's still me, and it's still now. Just think about that. Wherever, whether it's Ukraine, or whether it's Russia, or whether it's France, or whether it's Italy, or whether it's South America, whether it's Mexico, or Argentina, or Brazil, or wherever, it's now. It's not on the basis of what time is it. There's only one answer to that question, now. Now is the time. And now is the experience in all its fullness of everything that is gloriously being offered to us, inwardly, spiritually, and in every way in the experience of our living. We are abundantly cared for. It's not about how much money we have or what car we drive. When you live in the experience of now, in the simple presence of now, and bring yourself into the awareness of the presence of all good, in that moment, full sufficiency is present. If you really bring your attention to abundance in all its manifesting and forms of manifestation in the now, and you ask the question, is this moment in time sufficient? Do I have sufficiency right now? And the answer can be yes. It opens the door in consciousness. We connect the outer with the inner, and we say sufficiency is the nature of my life in this moment, in this very, very, very full and wondrous now. And so we bring ourselves from the future, we bring ourselves from the past into this now moment, and in recognition of our oneness with one another, with all of life, with all forms of life and all expressions of life. We do so in the awareness once again that there is but one presence and one power active in my life, active in the universe, God the good, omnipotent, all power, omnipresent, everywhere present. And the presence of all wisdom and guidance in you, active through you and as you, in this moment in time. Whatever you hold in your heart, you remember there is one source of knowing and guidance everywhere present. And we affirm that it is all good. And we're grateful for the opportunity to share that realization with one another. Inner peace today. I think peace, I feel peace, I am peace. Heather, you want to pray it for us?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Can you hear me? Yeah.
But I can see you.
Hello?
Press the button. Press the button.
Oh! Now you can hear me.
A little too much. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Today's daily word is inner peace. I think peace, I feel peace, I am peace. Peace lives in my heart, at the place within me where all appearances of separation dissolve. I feel only peace, only God, only oneness. This peace is always mine, part of my divine inheritance. I carry it with me through every experience, every moment of the day. Nothing can destroy or disturb my peace when I invite the divine presence, the Christ of my being, to be my constant guide. A passing thought of fear, worry, or anger is a reminder to breathe, to release negative energy, and to embrace peace. I feel renewed when I meditate, enjoy a walk in a peaceful garden, or take a moment to appreciate natural beauty wherever I find it. My indwelling peace manifests all around me as beauty, harmony, and bliss. May the Lord give strength to his people. May the Lord bless his people with peace. Psalm 29:11. I think peace, I feel peace, and I am peace.
Isn't that fabulous? Fabulous. You've gotten some buildings. I can't wear my earrings anymore.
Your hair used to keep you from getting...
Yeah, actually, when I had more hair, yeah. You know, it's one thing after another, these challenges. We say, oh, life filled with challenges. Yeah, well, that's what we call them. They're actually now moments. And if we can focus on the fact that it's right then, right now, right here, right now, we can change our stories radically. And the rest of it is how we describe it, how we reflect on it, what we think about it, how it ties into something else we think about. But the reality of reflection is the ability to notice that I'm calling something a challenge that's just practically a breath in its passing. It's one breath and it passes. And how much discomfort we assign to it, or how much drama we assign to it, is what really makes the difference. One of our unhomed people yesterday was in a heightened state of distress. I was here in the church working, and screaming and so much suffering. And the person who I was meeting with said, "Why is there so much of this?" And I thought, suffering is not new. It's just sometimes really clear that someone is suffering to the extreme, and in those moments, it's impossible to penetrate that state because the story is bigger than the opening for any kind of settling or peace to be present. And I said to him, there have always been people around us who are suffering. We just don't always see it. One of the reasons that many of us found unity or a teaching like unity was because we were suffering. We came to the teachings because we were in a state of extreme discomfort and might have been for our whole life, suffering, believing that was the truth of who we are and were and would be, that state of misery or that story would never give way to a different life. And then somebody said to us, the power of the cosmos, the power of all life is in the midst of you and is the truth of you, the reality of you. And we couldn't understand in the beginning, but as we continued to reflect on that truth, we started to change. We began to see things differently. And now we live differently, most of us, and the idea of having a life of ongoing suffering is really not appealing. It's like, just say, for a moment I am in pain, or for a moment I am in challenge. But it's not the truth of my nature, it's not the truth of my life, and it's not the truth of whatever is yet to be. It's just right now in this moment. It hurt, or it hurts, or my thoughts hurt. But I can shift from that. And that's the power and the truth of unity. It's why every Sunday morning we gather to remind ourselves of the truths that make us truly free. This morning, our announcements are simple. Next Saturday, beginning at 10:30, get here, be here. Bring your rubber gloves and show up for a cleanup day. It will be interior and exterior. We're going to shine up the place. Many hands make quick work, and we will feed you lunch, and we would love it if you would come and support the ministry on our cleanup day. If you want to talk to somebody about that, Heather, you're a voice for it. Chris is still out of town, I think. And so be here, 10:30. Be here. Be there. Being here. Yeah. Yeah. That too. April 12th is our board meeting at 5:30. We meet on Zoom. April 17th is a Sunday, and it's Easter Sunday. We're going to have a family day with potluck, and please bring food to share. So that's the 17th, our regular 11 o'clock service. And we're going to have a fun day and just be together. Just be together in the resurrection experience. Flowers today are from Louise's yard. Her beautiful, beautiful yard. If you have a prayer request, and many people do, and many people
hesitate to ask for whatever reason, if you want support and prayer for yourself or someone else, please submit a prayer request. You can do it online at info@unitysv.org, or you can submit a request by mail, or put it in the prayer box this morning on your way out. The prayer slips are there. Any other announcements? Not so much? Okay. I am loving this study on the secrets of the Aramaic Jesus. I am loving it, and I'm glad you're here to share with me and me with you. And online, I hope that you'll review the lesson a couple times if it's worth hearing. And it's going to carry right through Easter. So we're going to keep studying the Aramaic insight into the whole Easter experience and through the resurrection. So I love it. I love this. I love what I'm gaining insight into. It's fuel for my inner fire. So it's worth. It's worth it to me. And whether it's worth it to you is whatever brings you value on your quest. But if you can, I'd love to see you in person on Palm Sunday as we take on the next of the lessons about Passover. Having said those things, I think we're ready for some meditation time.
Yeah, I'm going to play Amazing Grace. You can sing it to yourself or whatever.
Okay. Going into it. That in and feel that place in you that wants to let go into the experience of amazing grace. Amazing grace. I hear it and automatically take a deep breath. And I open in a willing state of surrender. Letting go. Placing the only one, the one and only, in the foreground of my heart, my mind, my body, my being. And the body calls for that letting go experience. You say, I'm all wound up. And moment I witness that the mind wants to swirl and stir and move in an erratic way. But inwardly, I remember that all is in harmony and perfect order. That there is a peaceful, simple presence here. In the very center, but more than that, as the very essence of my being. Do I trust? Do I believe? Am I willing for that which is greater to fill and overflow me now? Am I willing to move my mind from that swirl and lead the mind, if you will? Lead the mind, the attention to this simple presence flowing in and through me now. Holy One, Holy One, I speak the name of the truth of my being. Holy One, I feel into the essence of the presence as it flows, as it somehow infuses all at once. With your breath, simply allow yourself to be soothed and cared for. Allow yourself to rest. In the amazing grace of Spirit. Breathe a little more deeply. And know know that if you are seeking guidance, divine wisdom is leading and guiding and blessing you. Deep breath. Deep breath. Imagine that door opened in you. Imagine that suddenly in your breath there was a door that opened in the midst of your being to receive and be that portal through which you step into guidance and grace. If your need is for abundance, know that the source that creates and fulfills all things in all time, infinite resource, is yours. And healing power is flooding you and overflowing you in this moment. And what about love? The love that truly passes all understanding is holding you safe now, and in that bringing forth harmony and order and that rightness of the moment. In grace and in love and in gratitude, we pray, giving thanks. And so it is. Amen.
To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose unto heaven. A time to build up, a time to tear down, a time to walk, a time to run, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose unto heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to sow, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose unto heaven. A time to build up, a time to tear down, a time to plant, a time to sow, a time for war, a time for hate, a time for peace, a
It's the Bible. Oh, no. It's okay. It's got wax all over it. When we're ordained, I think they still do this, we are given this huge Bible. I don't know what to get now, but we used to. And I still have one from 1978. And I never use it, but it's got my name on it. It's like, that was really a big deal when you were a kid. Did you ever get a Bible with your name on it? Oh, it's got my name on it. You know, that's before we started reaching beyond the known of things into infinite possibility. It's important that we study beyond the prescribed limits. It's one of the most important things we can do as spiritual seekers, or as seekers in life or thinkers, is to move beyond the confines and the construct of what we've always known and look at things from all different perspectives so that we can see our own perspective more clearly. What do I believe? What do I think? Why does that matter? Why is it? Why is this something that can illuminate for me more clearly how I see, what I think, what I believe? It's very important that we come to that individually and independently, and that we begin to look at spiritual ideas through a number of eyes. And fairly quickly, you look at things that might have made sense to you at one point in time, and at a different point in time, you look at it and you think, I don't really line up with that. But then there's some part of us still that believes that we should. Like, it has an as though element to it, as though there were some rules still under there somewhere about the way we practice spirituality or the way we live the teachings of what we've been taught historically. So we walk away from it, but and we really do work to change our mind. But when it comes down to a baseline, quite frequently we discover that those teachings, those old ways of seeing, are still there. And then we look at them and we really do an investigation, like a thorough investigation. Why does that have meaning or not have meaning? And how do I process it in some way that has value? And if I can't or don't, or really don't see it that way, then I am the judge and the jury that gets to decide how I see what's true about the universe. And Jesus was saying to everyone, you are the author and the authority of your own consciousness. So I can say these things, but until you yourself become conscious and aware of them, it means nothing. I can show you, I can speak it, I can evidence it, but I can't be that for you in the way you have to come to in yourself. Or it's rote. You're living something that remains unexamined, and in that you're choosing a perception that can be really wishy-washy. Yeah, I'm a spiritual thinker, I've got a free mind, I've got a free heart, but at the same time, I still have these things about if you look at tendrils, the threads of who said? It's like, well, who said that? Tendrils, threads, like it's here, but to fit in, to belong, do the right thing. And then some people just throw it all out. It's like, get that out, including the word God and everything that it represents. Just wipe the slate clean of all that and miss some of the deeper value of ideas that can be seen in ways, interpreted in ways that really make sense for you, powerfully and independently, because it is the truth that you see. To be uninformed is frequently to be unconscious. And so test it. Do I really believe that? I don't know. I thought I did until it came to this. So we begin with the another Aramaic interpretation of the first part of the Lord's Prayer. So this is expanded a little bit and is the Aramaic version of Our Father which art in heaven. O birther, remember, Aramaic, O birther, Father, Mother of the cosmos. Is that empowering you? In contrast to Our Father who art in heaven? No, O birther, Father, Mother of the cosmos, you create all that moves in light. I know, goosebumps, huh? Yeah. O thou, the breathing life of all, creator of the shimmering sound that touches us, respiration of all worlds, we hear you breathing in and out, in silence. We hear you breathing in silence. Source of sound, in the roar and the whisper, in the breeze and the whirlwind, we hear your name. Radiant One, you shine within us, outside us. Even darkness shines when we remember. Name of names, our small identity unravels in you. Our small identity unravels in you, and you give it back as a lesson. Wordless action, silent potency, where ears and eyes awaken. Wordless action, silent potency, where ears and eyes awaken, there heaven comes. O birther, Father, Mother of the cosmos. Father, Mother of the cosmos, you create all that moves in light. It's just, I find those pieces in the writings of Neil Douglas Klotz, who is a Sufi by tradition, but who has devoted his life to the exploration of the Aramaic language and of the time, of the culture, of the expansion of these words and understandings, so that we can touch at an integral level, an embodied level, the truth for ourselves. So we begin then. I am is the good shepherd. I am. So remember last week, if you were on board with us, I was talking about the revelation of the I am teachings for me as I started reading these books that I've always said it had a concept, but had a direct experience kind of thing where a door opened in my consciousness, and what seemed a little foreign to me suddenly took hold, took root. It was like, whoa, here we go. I'm listening to a series, Neil Douglas Klotz series, called The Secret Teachings of the Aramaic Jesus. So, and I'm reading another book, and so I've got 3 sources that I'm working with, and then the Gospel according to Thomas. So if it sounds confusing when it comes out, it's only because there's too much going in. I can't get it all blended. But in this particular series of the lessons from the Secret Teachings, he begins this part with "I am is the Good Shepherd." I am the Good Shepherd is the way it's written biblically in the King James Version. I am the Good Shepherd. So already the transfer is Jesus then plays a role in our life as the Good Shepherd, who is part of this play, this play of life. And when we add in the word "I am is the Good Shepherd," it changes the whole entry point. And the reason he teaches this particular segment is, and it comes from John, chapter 10 of John, the Gospel according to John. He said this particular teaching is for the experience, our inner experience of guiding our flock, if you will, of consciousness. All of these ideas, all these thoughts, all these scattered ways of thinking and being, and that which remains unconscious. He's talking about the I am of our being, the I am, the central I amness of our everythingness, the I amness. There is just the only one, is one of the ways he says it. And the small self, or the small idea we hold of who we are, we see then having its own identity, and we have the opportunity to bring that awareness forward into the foreground, that the I am will guide and shepherd us from within the core of our own beingness, not from the world around us, but from the core of our own beingness, that the whole source of creative intelligence, as was, as is, as will ever be, present in the now, is the shepherd that is bringing us into consciousness, that we might reconnect consciously in our awareness, the I of the small self to the reality of the I of the great beingness, of the great one. And so what he would say to us, what Neil would say to us, is there is that in us that's gathering us and leading us, and an indelible shepherd. Indelible is not the right word, but it's an as is. It doesn't shift and change that greater beingness of being the only one, or the one that is only. He's saying it is leading us, it is shepherding us to higher consciousness. It's already happening. We miss it, we don't see it, we don't hear it, because we're so focused on the outer considerations, or the seeming reality of the outer world. But this that we are made of, this that we are of, this that is the through in and throughout all. It's not only the breath, but in the breath, and not just a deep breath, but in the breath itself are these streams, if you will, that move through us, that are already invoking the wisdom, the clarity, and the guidance, the peaceful state in the midst of us. So the shepherd, he would say, is that inner, that I can't even use the word inner because it's not housed, this free-flowing presence of creation itself. And so we look for guidance. We say, where can I find guidance? Who can tell me what's true? And what we recognize when we turn toward it is we've never been apart from that. And it is what's awakening us. It is what inwardly is awakening us, this guiding consciousness, this leading power of creation. I can't talk about it anymore because I'm going to make it way more confusing than it needs to be. The I am, these are Neil's words, the I am is linking the I, personal identity, to the I, to the great I, to the one. So the I am is linking the I to the I, or the one to the one, and it leads our flock of needs to the fulfillment at the right place at the right time of all that is necessary. The I am leads the flock of needs or cares or concerns or whatever. And then he explains it this way. The simple presence, the peaceful center, understands, grasps, and gathers the wandering selves in us. I love that. The peaceful center, the simple presence, understands, grasps, and gathers the wandering selves in us from the attractive, destructive swirl and whirl outside that covers and blinds us. Those inner sheep, just like the outer ones, recognize immediately their own shepherd, the guiding self within, the one connecting us to the only one, the parent of all, continues creation each moment in your life, understanding, grasping, and gathering every living process in its hand. The Father-Mother expresses itself in unity, in oneness, in the I am. So, okay. I'm not gonna follow that path. I'm gonna go back to where my intention was going to begin with. Jesus, in this study, Neil says that Jesus has been on this Jerusalem journey for a year, that he has been predicting the end time for himself for a year and living into it and directing his teachings and everything that he's doing in this year toward an end time that he knows is before him, but not an end time as we would understand it. And he's giving one example after another of how it works. So you remember that he's in the temple overturning tables, and then the next morning he's walking down the road and he's hungry and he sees a fig tree that's not producing fruit. It's never going to produce fruit. It's barren. The word was a barren fig tree. And it's said that he curses it But he recognizes that this is a prime teaching experiment for the disciples again, and he says, let no fruit come for you ever again, come from you ever again. Sounds like he's making the edict to destroy this non-productive tree. That was his intention, to destroy the tree, because it's not producing the right kind of fruit. What he's actually illustrating is consciousness. What he's actually illustrating is awareness. He has deep concern at this point in time that the disciples are not understanding what he's saying and doing. They're seeing miracles, they're following him around, they witness all this stuff, but they're not getting it. And he knows that to move on from this world, planting the seeds of understanding in those who can hear it and see it is his legacy. It's the most important thing. Die with your possibilities in you really is where he's going here. And would they see and acknowledge and recognize the teachings that are the absolute teachings that come to be in his experience and theirs. So this state of ripening and unripening and barrenness have this baseline level of importance in Aramaic translations, because so many things are about, is it ripe, which means is it not just producing fruit, but is it in that state of expansion, that state of fulfilling its inward infinite beingness. It's the acorn and the oak tree and the butterfly and the caterpillar and all these things that are about transformation and stages of ripeness. And having watched butterflies after caterpillars voraciously eating all the leaves on the plants that we were giving them, I mean every leaf, until all of a sudden they'd eaten everything in sight, and now we can't see them at all, and they're cocooned all of a sudden, hanging from trees and bushes around the patio of my office in Santa Barbara. All of a sudden, here are these beautiful little cocoons, and you think, when did it go from this to this? When did it hit this stage of progress, opening? And then one day, I came to my office on a Sunday morning, and there was a wet butterfly just out of the cocoon hanging on my the thing that had the blinds on it, that thing, whatever. Anyway, the practicality goes. Anyway, now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, is it going to find its way out the door? It came in, but to be safe, is it going to find its way out the door? Process. One day, voraciously eating everything in sight. Next day or so, gelatinous cocoon being little mummified something in the bushes, and then one day suddenly looking up, and here it has come forth, and now in the expression of that, I'm questioning whether infinite wisdom knows itself in the butterfly enough to show it that there's an open door. Those are the kinds of questions we live with. Is it, after it got through all those stages, is there going to be the intelligence that tells us it could go through that door? Oh, ye of much doubt. What? I'm just involved in the whole miracle, and And I came back after service and it was gone, of course, because that's the way of it. But ripeness and unripeness, what stage of the process are we in? Are we ripe for our opening? Are we ripe for the consciousness to take life, to take wings in the midst of us? Are we ripe? Or in some stage of our beingness, are we still unripe, but potentially on the way to being ripe? Or have we closed out all possibility and are holding on to this barren state of being, like I'm in this alone and there's no answer and no hope? It's not a barren state in truth. It's a state of deep process that's going on, and it just hasn't surfaced at the level yet of root and stem and stock and production. But there's never such a thing as unripe. What the King James Version did with unripe was translated into evil. That to be unripe was to be worse than barren. It was to actually be in the category of sin, error, mortal flaw. Here we have somebody saying to us, no, it's all about these stages of our openness, our willingness to be opened by this divine, infinite power and process with which we are one, the great one. So he said, you have to look and see what it's time for. Are you ripe for something? Are you ripe for something? And the universe knows when you're ripe. And it opens the door in consciousness to bring forth exactly what is necessary to harvest that state of ripeness. And sometimes it's a challenge, and sometimes it's an opportunity, and sometimes it's something that's unforeseen and unknown. We say, I'm ripe, but don't make it hard. Do you think it's easy for something to ripen? No, it's part of divine process, but there's an intensity to ripening when it's time that you experience, and then it unfolds for you. Its next stage of opening. That being ripe is a state of open door in your consciousness for what's next. And so in the stories about planting and harvesting, you find this in all the different layers of those stories. The interpretations are available about ripeness. But I want to tell you one more story, and then I'll close it for today. So this story has Jesus coming through Galilee, and as he's traveling, always traveling from one place to another, they brought to him a man. So this is King James, or New Version Bible, New International, New Revised International. That's what it's called. And they brought to him a man who was deaf and had a speech impediment, and they begged him to lay his hand on him. And taking him aside from the crowd privately, Jesus put his fingers into his ears, and after spitting on the ground, he mixed it up, and he touched the tip of the man's tongue with that. And looking up to heaven, he sighed and said, be opened. The translation translates the word into be opened. Nice. And his ears were opened, and his tongue was released, and he spoke plainly. And Jesus charged them to tell no one, but the more he charged them, the more zealously they proclaimed it. And they were astonished beyond measure, saying, he has done all things well. He even makes the deaf hear and the mute speak. Okay, so that's the Bible story as we've read it, seen it, and known it from Mark. This is the story through the words of Neil Douglas Klotz, based on the Aramaic translation. And if you can take it in as I share it with you, it's quite extraordinary. It uses some of the old language, but it's amplified by the Aramaic. Yeshua then left the neighborhood of Tyre and went on through Sidon to Lake Galilee, going by way of the territory of the 10 towns. The roads he took meandered among oak forests and among carob and mint, mustard, oleander, and pistachio plants. He passed among cultivated fields of olive, fig, and date palm trees, of wheat and barley, and of vineyards. Some people brought him a man who was deaf and could hardly speak, and they begged Yeshua to place his hands on him. Yeshua took the man aside so the crowd could not see, and placed his fingers gently into the man's ears. As they breathed together, feel their shift. As they breathed together, Yeshua drew closer, spat on the ground, and touched the man's tongue, uniting his sensing self with the other. That transfer of vital fluid united them in that moment, uniting his sensing self. Yeshua had mixed his saliva with the soil, rubbing moist, earthy hands together. He had put his fingers on the man's lips and tongue. The man tasted the powerful hummus, swallowing both his own and the healer's saliva. Don't try this at home. The throat of the man opened to new sensations. Yeshua was breathing deeply close to the man, and they were inhaling and exhaling in the same rhythm. The man reverberated with Yeshua's spirit. He resonated, he reverberated with the same vibration there in that harmonious moment. As Yeshua focused upward, or as Yeshua focused on the one source of all sources, of all sensations, and all knowing, he raised his glance and awareness upward, breathing one long and powerful breath with Shemaya, Aramaic, the universe of vibration. So this is really instructional. The man reverberated with Yeshua's spirit. So get the vibration, that common vibration of the one. As Yeshua focused on the one source of all sensation and knowing, the one source, he raised his glance. He raised his glance means he elevated his consciousness yet another notch, breathing one long and powerful breath with Shemaya, the universe of vibration. This breath sounded like a groan, and the man found himself breathing the same sound, vibrational tone. Continuing their synchronized breathing, their bodies opened up with vibrations down to their legs. The man's feet were standing upon and receiving the healing energy of the one source. Releasing his hands from the man's ears, Yeshua said forcefully a word I can't pronounce, which means, be opened, expand, clear the way. Be opened, expand, clear the way. Be opened, expand, clear the way. Allow yourself to be penetrated by the waves of space that give and receive all sound, hearing, and speech. Be open, expand, clear the way. Allow yourself to be penetrated by the waves of space that give and receive all sound, hearing, and speech. And the man, receiving healing energy, was open to being opened in a fresh way. When Yeshua's hand stopped cupping his ears and the percussive sound sounded, the man's whole being said, what? Yes. At that instant, the man's ears were opened, his tongue loosened, and he spoke clearly. Thank you, he said. Having ears, I can hear. I'm right. Having ears, I can hear. Jesus kept saying to his disciples, let the one who has ears to hear, hear. Let the one who has eyes to see, see. So thank you, he said. Having ears, I can hear. Having a tongue, I can speak. Thank you. And then Yeshua ordered the people not to speak of it to anyone. But the more he ordered them not to, the more they told. And all who heard were completely amazed. How well he does everything, they exclaimed. He even causes the deaf to hear and the dumb to speak. What an extraordinary teaching this is. The synchronization with the vibration, the actual sensory experience of touch, and unifying with that power that was going on, and then the tone of it, breathing one long, powerful breath with Shemaya, the universal vibration, getting into harmony. Opening up with vibrations down to their legs. The man's feet were standing upon and receiving the healing energy of the one source. Be open, expand, clear the way. Allow yourself to be penetrated by the waves of space that give and receive all. Well, we said thank you so much. And he was opened, and he said yes. But what can you take from that? You have to have Jesus standing in front of you for that to happen? I mean, that's what we think. That's what we've been taught. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No, I am. It was within the man himself. When he touched that vibration, the healing power was already present. It didn't come from somewhere else. It was already there. He had just never seen it. He never witnessed it. He wasn't ripe for it until that moment when he saw what he had not seen, heard what he had not heard, and knew what he had not known. Gives me goosebumps. So much, so much. O birther, father, mother of the cosmos, focus your light within us. Make it useful. Create your reign of unity now. Your one desire then acts within ours, as in all light, so in all forms. Grant what we need each day in bread and insight. Loose the cords of mistakes binding us as we release the strands we hold of others' guilt. Don't let surface things delude us, but free us from what holds us back. From you is born all ruling will, the power and the life to do, the song that beautifies all, from age to age it renews. Truly, power to these statements. May they be the ground from which all my actions grow. Amen. Just so much. Just to find, the fig tree, am I right? Have I gone barren? Am I unripe? Am I rotten? In this stream of thought, or in this behavior, or in this habit pattern, or the way I do things? Is it time to throw something away in the compost pile by letting go of it and saying, this really isn't the truth for me anymore? All of that and more. All of that and more. Our ministry thrives because of your generosity. So for you who are there through our wonderful YouTube or Facebook offering, for those of you who are here in the sanctuary, we bless the gifts that you give. Your generosity allows us to ever expand and increase, not just our individual consciousness, but the consciousness of all. We dedicate our efforts, our Sundays, the work we do, that all might be blessed by better work, by study, by deeper understanding. And so, through your gifts, here we are, and we're so happy to be with you. So we bless our offering, saying, I give joyfully and easily, for God is my source, and abundance is my nature. And so it is. The prayer for protection done in any language is a blessing, and the blessing is for you and for everyone else, for all of life. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. Thanks for being here. We'll see you real soon. Have a great week. Thank you.
Anytime, any day, you can hear the people say that love is blind. I don't know that I say love is kind. Soldier boy, kissed his girl, lives behind a tragic world, but he won't mind. He's in love and he says love is fine. Oh, yes indeed, you know, people will find a way to go, no matter what the man says. Love is fine for all we know, our love will grow. That's what the man says. So won't you listen to what the man says? He says, anytime, any day, you can hear the people say that love is blind. I don't know about that love is kind. Soldier boy kisses girl, leaves behind a tragic world, but he won't mind. He's in love, he says love is fine. find a way to go no matter what the man says. Love is fine for Romeo, Romeo, I love the road.